Welcome. In this video, we're going to walk through how to use a multi-connection query in Brobench. Okay. Brobench supports executing queries, of course. So there is a primary connection, that is a connection that you are seeing the window in. But sometimes you would want to execute the same query across different connections to compare the results or see what the status of something and so on, many other use cases. For example, let's say if you want to see if the same user exists in multiple orgs with the same email. So you can run a query and say, show me the user details for the email is equals to that particular email because email tend to be the same across environments, including production and the sandbox. So it will show you the results. Or you could use it to query for a particular custom settings to see a particular value if it is same across the environment. You can really compare the configuration, and the same goes for metadata. And you can just query, for example, and say, show me all my configuration data, let's say all partners across various sandboxes and see what the status of that particular partner, right? So the use cases are myriad, but the idea is that it takes a query and run against multiple connections, bring the results, combine them, and show it in one grid with the connection names of all of those connections so that you can just compare and see how the data looks like. So I have a query here. So I can just typically, go ahead and click on execute. So it runs against the correct connection that you are seeing. So that's why, it's assumed that your correct connection, in this case, in the DOARG1 that I'm in, and then shows the results. And similarly, if I have child query and run them, it shows the results. Okay, so but what if I want to run the same thing? So you can select the text and you can click on this additional options and click on execute as multi-con query. CYNN stands for connection. So multi-connection query. So when you click on it, so it's going to prompt you to enter or select multiple connections. So assume that you have added those connections into our org, into the Brobench. So then it's going to show them. You can just select one or more. In this case, I have two. I'll select those two. Okay, I can click on execute. So then it shows that it has executed that particular query. So you can see that it has added two additional columns in this particular results, which were not there earlier. The first one is a connection name. So that is a name that you have given the connection, in the login window. And the second one is a connection username itself. What username? Okay. So many times I just deal with a connection name because it's more descriptive and all that, but your mileage may vary. You may want to see both. So for this particular connection, you can see that it is showing all of these and then the second connection details and all that. So then once the data is shown, it is like as with any other data grid, you can sort them together. You can group them, for example, if they say, if you want a same city, if you have a data across, right? And you can see there are two records, okay, is there across two different connections, so on and so forth. So you can play around, get the analysis that you're looking for. Okay. It also supports child queries. You can run against multiple uh, child query against multiple connection and show the results. So that would look like that. You can select a child query. In this case, I'm selecting some account details, some contact details, and then you can go and say connection query. So you notice that when we bring up this dialog for the first time, it was selected the correct connection, which connection that you are in. And then next time you bring it up, it remembers the previous connection. So those connections are automatically highlighted. You can just go execute it. Keep in mind, this selection is only within a browser session. So if you refresh this particular page, if you close the browser and come back, of course, you have to reselect what are the connection that you're looking for. But within a session, it remembers these. And then you can just go click on execute. And you can see that it has shown the parent results as well as a child. Okay, and it shows all the child records. You can select one or more, actually the parent result if you want to, and then it shows a child for that. Or also you can select one or more like this, you can, and then it will show the child for that. You can see that it is actually from all from the same org. In this case, they are from different orgs. Okay, so that's how you use a multi-connection. So a couple of other things to keep in mind, right? So which is no, which are a little bit different compared to the main or a single connection query, which is a default query mode. That you cannot edit any of the data. Okay, so that's a edit button doesn't show up, even though account is actually editable object and the records are editable. The edit option doesn't show up. Okay, so that you cannot edit any of the data. So if you want to edit, you still have to execute against a single connection and then you can edit. But you can also notice that it doesn't support query more. So if you are issuing a query against an object that contains millions and millions of rows, keep that in mind. It doesn't ship on query more, and then we limit the maximum records to 10,000 records per connection. So we can adjust that limit based on the feedback, but right now it is 10,000. Okay. And then next thing is that um, so it doesn't the preview records. Remember, we have the capability in the Brobench that all the IDs are actually shown the preview like this. So that preview works only for records belong to the main connection. The record belong to this particular connection, whichever that you are in. For other ones, it may not work. Okay, so it doesn't give an error. I think it'll just show preview not available if you try to view it. Okay, so those are some of the caveats in using this, just because of the complexity of that, making it work across different connections. Okay, so then from here you can export the data. You can copy, export. For example, let's say if you want to export all of this data as a CSV, you can export all of them, and then if you view the CSV, you would be able to see that particular connection as well, so that you can use it for your analysis. Okay, so this is about multi-connection query in Brobench. Thank you.